Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I kind of wanted to share my experience on deciding to attend mortuary school. And if you've watched my other videos or we know each other IRL, you know that I just finished my first year at DMAC, or depending on what time this video comes out, I might be just taking finals. So that's kind of crazy. So I was in the Med Lab Tech program. If you don't know what that is, that's basically someone who works at a hospital testing bodily fluids, basically. You mainly work independently, but occasionally you work in groups, and you help diagnose different types of illnesses, and you work really tightly with pathologists, which pathology is the science of diagnosing illnesses, but also figuring out how they work and such. So for example, pathologists have a really big role in the current situation, and they're doing a lot of good work. So I just want to say massive respect to anyone who's working in the pathology field as well as the medical field in general. So I really fell in love with Med Lab Tech because I've always been interested in medicine. At age 8, I said to my mom, I want to be a doctor, and a couple years later said, I want to be a surgeon. And then at age 16, I said I want to be a plastic reconstructive surgeon. And I always say reconstructive surgeon because there is a big difference between a normal plastic surgeon and a reconstructive plastic surgeon. So just to explain that quickly, the normal type of general plastic surgeon does stuff like tummy tucks, nose jobs, etc. And I find those very interesting, and I accept people who get those procedures done. I myself have a little bit of a crooked nose, which is fine. That doesn't make me unattractive. Other things do. But personally, it's something that I want to change. But I do promote body positivity, and I'm just going to say no one has to get plastic surgery. It's a personal decision. And they cost, nose jobs cost $7,000, so that's not going to be a while. And hopefully I can feel more comfortable in my skin before then, and I won't feel like that's necessary. Personal tangent aside, I wanted to do reconstructive surgery because our physical appearance, whether you like it or not, is sadly something that you get judged on every day, and again, sadly, is a big part of our self-esteem. And there's nothing wrong with being in shape or liking how you look. I support that. But, if you have something, quote-unquote, that is wrong with you, I understand that can be a big point of distress. I myself suffer from gender dysphoria, and obviously I will get surgeries in the future to help correct that. So I am very understanding of that. But reconstructive plastic surgeons often work with burn victims and with car accident victims, occasionally victims of domestic abuse. And I would consider myself a pretty level-headed person, and I can deal with that kind of stuff. So that's why I kind of wanted to go into that field for the last few years. So I personally, the really specific thing that I was interested was working with burn victims. This might sound weird to you guys who aren't interested in medicine, but the whole process of helping burn victims recover or just immediate emergency procedures is really interesting to me. I am not going to pronounce this right, but an escherotomy, I believe, it's when they essentially take off severe burn victims' skin, or they make say a little cut like this to help it breathe, and that sounds very archaic to me. I don't know the science behind it, but that kind of stuff is so interesting to me. And again, even getting even more specific, face transplants are something that is so cool to me. That might sound wrong, but I believe there's only been 45 successful face transplants in the US, and that's something that I really would like to be a pioneer in if I were to go that route. Specifically one that I find very amazing is there's this woman, a while ago, somewhere in the early 2000s, I believe, who got her face mauled by a chimpanzee. Sorry I'm laughing, it just sounds so weird, but I am trying to take this more seriously. I just can be kind of lighthearted with this kind of stuff because I'm kind of numb to it. That's going to sound wrong, but basically she has one of the most beautiful recovery stories, and I wish her the best. So that kind of stuff is very fascinating to me. However, I decided against going to medical school because I don't have the best attention span, and I'm not very good at remembering things, so doing that kind of stuff wasn't the work for me. So in school, in high school, I really excelled in humanities like history and writing, and I wasn't so good with sciences or math. And that kind of changed in my junior year when I took physics. I did honors physics for a while, but it was too difficult, and I just fell in love with physics. And then in college, I fell in love with biology. Still hate chemistry, but I love human biology. It's very fascinating. So that kind of made me realize maybe med lab tech isn't correct for me. And going back a little bit in my timeline of my existence, I remember like the weekend I was graduating from high school, there was a close family friend who's a commencement speaker at my graduation, and he's amazing. And he gave this really beautiful talk that had a really deep impact on me. He said something along the lines, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this, but basically, follow your heart's like calling, or follow your passion. I'm not putting it as eloquently as he did, but I was like, oh, this is going to sound wrong, but I probably already said offensive stuff. I'm very fascinated with death. I always have been. And not really in a dark way, but like of genuine interest. And I was like, I want to be an embalmer. And why I chose to be, like, if I do go that route, which now it looks like I am, why I chose embalming over a mortician is, or funeral directors, because they have to deal with people, and I just can't do that. And I realized, sorry, my dog's right here. I realized that I would rather work independently, and I can be very blunt and speak my mind, and I don't like small talk and all that crap. So I was like, okay, it's better if I limit my interactions with people just in general. It's like my whole life. So I was like, I'm very detail oriented. I'm a hard worker. I like a routine. I like knowing what to expect, kind of. And like I said, I think the human body is almost like a machine in a sense, like an organic machine. And again, my favorite class at this moment is human biology, and I want to understand that stuff. So it's a big part of going to mortuary school and becoming an embalmer. And another reason why I'm really attracted to it is because I want to always get better at my craft. Even though I'm going to be doing pretty much the same thing every day, I want to be even better. So to kind of like say a few things before I get into kind of my personal tips on figuring out what you want to do with your life at this age. I'm turning 20 in May, so I'm not, perfect. I don't have everything planned out, but I have the next couple years planned out. So, sorry, I just wanted to make this seem a little bit more positive, and I've always had this view on death that has been more optimistic. I'm personally very much an atheist. I believe once you're gone, you're gone. But whether we have a consciousness or not, like this body, like think about it, you have so many like cells, you have this perfect system just fighting for you every single day. And our bodies are so important, mental health, physical health, that's so important. That is who we are in my personal belief system. And I believe being able to care for your body, sounds creepy, but being able to take care of a body in its final, time on this earth, or whatever you want to say, is just a great way to honor the deceased. And I see it as a beautiful thing, and I will be honored to take care of everyone that comes through my mortuary place. And I, even like, let's say religion is true. To me, if religion is true, your body is the vessel for your soul. And I think that's also beautiful to take care of that. And personally, if I die and I go to heaven or hell, like I would really feel comforted to know that someone took care of the vessel for my soul, because if religion is true, they're very much intertwined. I'm technically Catholic, so that is kind of how I view it. I'm coming from a Catholicism point of view and also an atheist point of view, so I'm trying to kind of present those two belief systems to you. So I see it as a very beautiful and natural thing, and I feel like taking care of people in that way is really my true calling, because I hate the living. Sorry, I hate all of you. Just kidding. So to kind of get into the tips of finding what you want to do is kind of do what I did unintentionally and pick a field that you're really interested in. For me, it was medicine. It could be anything. It could be like I, really like helping people one-on-one, or I like to have a hands-on job, or I like to inform people, or I like to kind of like perform certain like physical tasks, such as, being a mechanic or whatever. So pick a very general field and then take a look at what your assets are. So for me, I'm not a people person. I'm very much an introvert. I'm detail oriented. I like routine and stuff. And being a doctor, you never know what you're going to do day to day, and your hours can be very inflexible, very like, you never know what your hours are going to be, and that can sometimes happen to an embalmer, and that's totally fine. I accept that, but kind of learn what your natural skills are. And yeah, I'm sorry this video might not have been super informative. I just kind of wanted to pop on here for a second, and I would like to kind of make a second part to this video, kind of not really talking so much about my personal experience, but giving tips. So one last thing before I go. So this year, just to clarify, I was taking a bunch of prereqs for the med lab tech that I would take in my first year, because you have to apply in May, and I applied for college in like June and July. That's when I was working through this whole process, so I couldn't get into the program. It's also highly selective. So I'm filming this on April 8th. I don't think this will go out until later April, but I did get in contact. Well, I sent an email to the advisor for the mortuary science program and was just asking her what to do. And with this whole situation on, I don't know if this will last till the fall. Hopefully it won't, because obviously mortuary science is very hands-on, and even the med lab tech program, like one of the first classes I have to take is urinalysis. How am I going to do that from home? So it's kind of up in the air, but again, I kind of want to make less personal videos because I don't think anyone cares about that, and kind of make more general tips for happiness, success, and education, etc. So if you made it to this video, thank you. Follow me on Instagram, follow my dog on Instagram, subscribe if you like my random content, and have a good day, and stay safe.